Shefali, I've really been looking forward to this, to sit down with you and to talk to you about how you do what you do so incredibly well on screen.
Thank you for having me, and I've been wanting to just chat with you.
I think it's entirely fitting that you're on this show of ours that we call, it's a new show that we call Class Act. I really feel like you belong completely.
Thank you.
You know, Shefali, Delhi Crime dropped on Netflix in March, but it feels like it's the only thing that people are talking about anywhere. Anywhere I go, that's what everyone's talking about. And what they're saying is how good you are in it. It's literally the first thing that people are talking about. It feels like you've been rediscovered through Delhi Crime. It feels like a whole new generation of audiences have sort of discovered who Shefali is and how good she is, which is sort of funny because you've been working for about 25 years. You've been in a variety of sort of films from Mohabbatein to Monsoon Wedding.
Yeah.
You've been in everything. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like there's been a sort of a rediscovery almost?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Delhi Crime, Juice, and once again, all these three. You know, because one is with, I mean, Delhi Crime, I'm talking about Delhi Crime,
right.
It's the OTT platforms opened the gates for everyone creatively,
true.
not just actors.
Yeah.
You know, where they've broken out of the box of the hero and the heroine.
Yeah.
It's about characters, their stories, and it's content driven.
Right.
So it's breaking that mold. Also, that cinema is changing, and it's they do think that women of 45 have some place in it besides playing grandmothers.
Correct.
So, which is great. And either all these directors, I mean, all three of them are like, I keep telling them, I mean, I think it's really funny. Either they're really good and confident about themselves, or they're just crazy to say, you know what, I'm going to cast her irrespective. So, I mean, it's been great. It's really opened up a horizon. And yeah, like you said, because there is stuff, also because of the age I played earlier, they kind of typecast me.
Right.
Day before yesterday, I was out with my mom for dinner, and this girl walked up to me and she said, she must have been 22, 25. And she kept talking about Delhi Crime and how every single person has watched it and how much it's affected the new generation.
True. You know, I meet people who watched it and how affected they are by it, and I meet people who refuse to watch it because they're afraid of how it's going to affect them.
Yeah, but I just feel it's worth giving it a chance.
I think so too. I tell them that all the time.
Yeah, because it's not as, it's not what you're expecting.
That's right.
Somewhere even that is a little unnerving because it's left to your imagination.
Correct.
So it's kind of really overwhelming.
Yeah.
But it's not about the crime per se.
That's right.
It's the investigation
into the crime,
which I thought was it was a really important story to tell.
True. Of course, you know, on the show you play DCP Vartika Chaturvedi, who's of course been tasked with conducting the investigation and nabbing the perpetrators who did this sort of horrible thing. And what's incredible, I think, about this performance is how you play this no-nonsense professional woman, but you can see how it's hit her, how hard it's hit her, and how personal it is for her.
Yeah.
And I think that complexity is sort of beautiful. I read about this scene actually, that in the first episode, she walks out of the hospital after hearing from the doctors exactly what happened, and she comes out and briefs her team, and she says it's not just heinous, it's insanity.
Right.
Now, I read that was the scene, you know, it was originally a 12-page scene, but before doing it, on set, you were in your makeup van and you were bawling your eyes out.
My makeup van, in the loo, sitting on the floor and bawling my eyes out.
Because you thought you couldn't do it.
I can't do it. I kept telling her, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I don't know how to do this. And I was terrible at mugging, even in school. Right. Now, the thing is, the way I work, you know, Rajeev, is I don't remember the lines. I remember the thought and the emotion behind it.
Right.
This was one, and it was a broken line of thought.
Right.
You know, because she's going this. Also, she doesn't allow herself the emotion. So it was not an emotional conversation. It was more just about information and, you know, let's do this. And 12 pages, I was like, and right now it's cut.
Correct.
But when we shot it, he wanted it in one go.
Oh, wow.
And I kept going in between the scene and telling him, please, can you send the actors away? And he was like, wouldn't you want them in front? I said, no, I'm making a fool of myself in front of such an amazing bunch of actors.
You're very hard on yourself.
Fairly so, na.
Undeservedly so, I would say. You know, the thing one keeps hearing is, why do we see so little of Shefali Shah on screen? That's the common refrain one's hearing now, especially after Delhi Crime. And I feel like the answer lies in something that you said recently. You said that you want roles that drive you nuts, that that give you sleepless nights.
Yes, completely. If it doesn't consume me enough, I will not go and do it.
Really?
Yeah. So it's not like I don't want to work. I mean, I'm the happiest on the set. I'm the happiest. I mean, all this adulation, this love, this respect, this appreciation is a cherry on the sundae.
Right.
But while I was doing it, it was the high point. Like, it's one of the most enriching and consuming experiences of my life.
I can imagine, yeah.
You know, so if it's not driving me enough to go to set in the morning, I will not do it. But so it's coming back to what I said earlier, you know, they come to me with stuff which is either in the same box, or they think I can't fit it, or I don't know what.
Right.
So I want to work. I mean,
do you feel like this will open up more opportunities? I mean, are you sensing a shift in the way that just people perceive you?
I think so, and I really hope so.
Right.
I really hope so. I mean, you know, there's so many directors who reached out and said, we just love you and we can't wait to work with you, which is great, but I'm waiting to see when that happens.
Right. Put the money where their mouth is, yeah. But you know, you have popped up recently on our screens in both Once Again, which is this sort of subtle, understated love story that you've done with Neeraj Kabi, which is streaming on Netflix.
Yeah.
And of course in Juice, which is this beautiful short film,
amazing,
which Neeraj Ghaiwan directed. And it's one of those films that I think every woman, no matter where she is, can relate to it.
Absolutely.
And I feel like men can too. You know,
absolutely.
you watch it and you go like, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah. You know, there was a very, very interesting, very nice comment that was, because there was a lot of interact and a lot, again,
correct,
like Delhi Crime, it was like, have you
started
seen
a conversation, yeah.
It was like that. And it started a very pertinent conversation. True. So this guy had written, he said, you know, हमेशा कहा जाता है कि माँ की रोटी में बहुत प्यार होता है. पहली बार पता चला माँ की रोटी में कितना गुस्सा होता है. It was such, I'm getting goosebumps. It was such a beautiful and such
That's a lovely comment, yeah.
And it was exactly what it is.
Right.
And a lot of guys, you know, they were commenting and saying, we didn't realize where.
I'm sorry.
We never got up and helped.
Correct.
Our mom, or we just thought it was a part of growing up.
Right.
I mean.
Right. Can I just tell you about my favorite performance of yours? It's in Dil Dhadakne though, in which of course you play Neelam Mehra, who's the wife of this millionaire, and they're of course celebrating the 30th anniversary, I think, on that cruise. There are 2 scenes in that film. You know, it's a huge ensemble film, and there were many actors, and some of them were really good. But for me, the performance that held the film together was yours. I think that she's the character that I was completely invested in, and 2 scenes for me were the ones that, one of course is the cake scene, which is that moment of rebellion. It's her scene in the room against the mirror. Her husband has just made a snide remark about her weight,
right.
And this is her act of rebellion. This is as far as she can protest, and she stuffs her face with cake, and that's her way of saying, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And the second scene, which I think is even more affecting, is again the scene in the room where they're both at the edge of the bed. He's just confessed his transgressions. He's just apologizing. And she just says, "Tum mujhe bhool gaye," which is such a, I mean, I remember a flood of emotions. I remember being completely kind of deeply affected because in that one moment, and of course it's the way that you play it, your eyes brimming with tears, it just, in that moment, you sort of revealed everything that she's been living with. The pain that she's felt, how much she's still hurting. What was that like, playing that part? I also remember that you were hesitant initially when they offered you that role.
Yeah, I was a little hesitant, and in fact Zoe, you know, called me saying, I don't know whether you'll do it, but can we at least meet? And I said, of course. I mean, I admire you so much as a director, one of the directors I respect so tremendously. And I met her and she told me about it, and I said, she said, I know it's not your age, but etc., etc. So I said, okay, give me some time. And I went back and I read the script, and the moment that struck me was exactly the cake eating scene.
Right.
Now that scene, you know, there's, yes, actors add, I'm not taking away from that, but certain moments belong to the director. The moment itself is so powerful.
Right.
You know, like that moment in Dil Dhadakne though, and the moment in Delhi Crime, where in the end she hugs Bhupinder.
Correct.
It's a director's
It's a-
moment.
yeah.
You know, or in Juice, where she pulls the chair
Right,
and says,
and
I mean,
sits
that
down.
is like,
It's that,
it's
yeah,
a
I'm not
slap
taking this
on your
anymore.
face.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
So when I read it, I said, oh my God, this is, and you know, I was told that it's the weakest written role on paper. And I thought it was the second most powerful after Pluto, the dog.
Okay. Right.
So my first thought was, so can I play Pluto? But, and then I just had to do it.
Yeah. The other film I thought you were terrific in was Nagesh Kukunor's film Lakshmi. I have to say, I have mixed feelings about the film, but I thought what you brought to her, you play, of course, the madam of that brothel. She's someone who's very cold on the outside, but she has a good heart.
Yeah.
But there's a scene in that film, and I'm gonna talk about it. It's that scene where you completely sort of dismiss the fact, or you're sort of dismissive of the fact that this girl's in abject pain. She's a very young girl.
Yeah.
She's gone through hell. She's had a night where she's been really badly exploited, and you tell her, here's a jar of lube, and it'll be easier.
Yeah.
You're not afraid to be really cold and really heartless.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that is who she is.
Yeah.
And it's an everyday job for her. She does this every day. She doesn't cringe.
Right.
She's been through that. She's done that. So it's, as a character, I mean, as a person, I would be like, oh God.
Yeah.
But that is her job. That is
Right.
what she does. And almost somewhere it's like, I dealt with it. So deal with it.
Correct. Right.
You know?
How do you get into the head of these women? You know, especially a character that is so far removed and someone you don't even necessarily agree with. Like this, I would imagine this is a woman that one can't sort of you know, make peace with her.
You know, first and foremost is I have to, like when you're playing a villain, for example. I mean, I'd love to play a villain, honestly. But when you're playing a villain, you don't play it as a villain.
Correct.
Because in your own shoes, you're absolutely correct about what you're doing.
Yeah.
You believe in it.
True.
It's your perception of what you see. But for me, being in those shoes, I am who she is. And of course, like, you know, I genuinely, I mean, this is the way I work, is where I feel a scene is a window between the audience and the world this woman comes from. If I know her, then I will be able to react the way she reacts.
Right.
And a lot of stuff might never come out.
Correct.
To the audience.
Correct. It's just backstory that you.
But I need to
know
know
it.
it.
Right.
And I really need to, like, understand her.
Shefali, finally, sort of how do you look at this moment? It's an incredible moment in your career. It just feels like there's this explosion. You know, I'm going back to what I said in the beginning. It feels like there's been a rediscovery. Everyone's talking about this show. Everyone's talking about this performance. What, in an ideal world, what would you like this to yield for you?
More work. Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, like I said earlier, you know, I am overwhelmed and humbled by the appreciation and adulation and respect. But this is the cherry on the sundae.
Right.
I am the happiest when I'm shooting.
Okay.
And you give me something to chew on to, something that completely consumes me, and I am the happiest. All this is an additional bonus.
True.
When I was on, for me, you know, I'll tell you this very interesting thing. On 22nd March, when the show dropped, and everyone was like, oh my God, the show's dropped, and like, whoa, and stuff. And I was heartbroken. It's such a weird emotion. I was so sad because I said, "Arey, ab to ye nikal gaya haath se. Now this is not mine anymore." You know, so it was just like that is actually the first time I let her go.
Right.
But till then, I was just so consumed by her. I want that to translate. Everyone loves appreciation.
Right.
But I want to see that translate.
You're correct.
When directors tell me that, you know, we think you're one of the finest actors we have, or love to work with you, I want to see that translate into something which is worth it.
Yeah.
Not just cast me
Token,
because,
right.
You know,
because you want her in the film.
You want her in the film.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with the length of the role.
Correct.
I mean, Satya technically was a 7-minute role.
Right.
You know.
That's true. But you remember her.
You remember her. She was very, very important to the film. It was an incredible character. Give me something to chew on.
Sure.
And I mean, if these 3 projects that I did last cannot let you see
the range,
the age, and what she's capable of. Correct. Like, you know, I played age in Gandhi, My Father.
That's right.
But it starts from the time Kasturba was 25,
Correct.
22, 25.
And you
till
see
the
her right
time
up
she
and
dies.
yeah.
So give me something like that. So it's, you know, it's just like, give me something that will completely consume me.
Right.
Like I'm obsessed with, I'd be the happiest.
I feel like it's going to happen. I feel like, you know, just hearing the word on the street, just hearing filmmakers talk about discovering that show and discovering just what you're capable of, I feel like it's going to happen. I really all the best.
so.
Yeah, I hope so too, because I think it's such a joy to watch great acting on screen. It's just, I think, you know, actors are our portals into a show or into a film. So when you see great acting, it's just such a joy. Thank you so much for these incredible performances. It really one's hoping that one sees a lot more and a lot of different work, sort of mixing it up. I think you've done that, and I really feel like Delhi Crime is, like you say, the cherry on the sundae. Here's hoping for a lot more, and thank you for incredible performances.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Rajeev.
Shefali.
Thank you.
Thank you.